like to just sort of revisit something that we had talked about a few weeks ago before we had this particular thing really come into fruition or it manifest itself. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, we talked about the vaccine, the COVID vaccine. And I wanted to hear the heartbeat on the people about whether or not, how did they feel about the vaccine, whether or not, they felt that it was something that they would do or not do once it became available. So now that we're, a few weeks into COVID vaccine, and people are, making appointments to get vaccinated, and they've decided, the CDC, which group of people would get the vaccine and who are at high risk. Of course, we know that a lot of that publicity came from the news when we had the first, ICU nurse from Northwell, from LIJ get it to show, hey, I'm getting it. She expressed that she had lost a lot of family members from COVID, for therefore, she was willing to be the first one. And, she made the news, and people said, okay, so that's, I guess, sparked people to say, okay, if she did it, then we'll do it as well. And then campaigns were made to target certain populations that they felt were very vulnerable, such as communities of color, where there's a normal health disparity, a limited access to vaccine and other types of healthcare services. They wanted to make sure that these communities had vaccination sites and hubs set up. Okay. So the big controversy was, the number of vaccines, the availability, which pharmaceutical company would be able to get these vaccines out and available so they can start to be distributed and given. So I'm just going to give you a little background information so that you can sort of help understand, once again, I'm still holding the posture of, I am not telling you my take on it. I will give you the science on it, okay? And it's an individual decision. Let me digress for a second. At the same time, there were also, they were targeting religious organizations, leaders who were saying, they felt that if they voiced and said, get the vaccine, then more people of color from the churches would go and get vaccinated. Okay, so, and I have been challenged the last couple of weeks from some religious leaders asking me, what my take is on the vaccine and would I come and speak to their congregations about getting the vaccine. Basically, I gave them the, response that, I will give the science. I will not encourage it. I will not discourage it. And I would definitely not share my take on it. And at the same time, I said that I would pray about it, whether or not God would release me to go and speak to their congregations. So I know I said a lot, but okay, let me give you a little bit of science. So, of course, I'm sure you heard that this is the CDC number, okay? During the first 10 days of the vaccine administration, 1.9 million vaccines were given. Over 4,000, were distributed. Over 4,000, people received the vaccine in the first 10 days. And out of that 4,000 people that received the vaccine, there were only 21 what they call anaphylactic reaction, meaning severe reactions from the COVID vaccine. And this was Pfizer's vaccine, which is given in 2 doses. You get the first dose, and then 3 weeks later, you're to get a second dose. So the question I have for the class tonight, now with all of this, we're going into the 3rd week of vaccination. They're opening up, vaccination hubs at Jacob Javits. They have these hubs in Brooklyn. They have hubs all over New York City. They're looking at targeting what they call the group 1B, which are those that are over a certain age who have chronic illness, are the ones that's going to be vaccinated, in addition to essential workers. And you have to prove that you're an essential worker. So you have to bring identification to make sure that you meet the criteria, because they don't want people coming and lying and they really are not eligible for the vaccine before their term. So the question for the class tonight, now with all of this information out, we know that people are starting to get the vaccine. The vaccine, quote unquote, now is becoming available at certain sites that have been contracted by appointment. Have your mindset changed about getting the vaccine?
No.
That's a lot. I'm sorry. I gave you a lot of spiel. I just wanted to do a follow-up tonight.
No.
This is Shanique. My answer has not changed, and that my answer is no.
Okay. All righty. Anybody else? Thank you, sister.
This is Pastor Terry. My answer is no.
Okay. All right.
And my husband as well.
Okay.
This is Pastor Ross, and I'm unwavered. I'm going to take the vaccine.
Okay. Anybody else? I'm sure there's more than a few people.
This is Diana. My answer is still no. And I actually am booking the appointments for these patients. And most of them that I'm booking is 65 and older. And also, we have a certain criteria. You definitely have to be a city employee. You can be a policeman, fireman. We have this long list of people that we are allowed to make the appointment for. So as of today, we're up to 240 just for tomorrow alone. And then what they're doing is, if all 240 show up and you have enough left in the vials, what we're doing is calling people who are on tomorrow's list, and we're telling them, okay, you can come right now. We have enough, because we can't waste it. We have some more. So if it's 10 people, we call them and say, can you come? And then we add the next 10 people who were on the waiting list. So that hotline that people are having a hard time getting through, now I'm actually making the appointments for these people to get the shot. I say no, because I've had a lot of people who have taken it, and I've heard of the different results from it.
No.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Or are people still out on the fence?